I don't know why they set this in front of me. Hi, my name is Barry Botone. I'm with the TOR Project, Tribal Opioid Response for the Sean Arapaho Tribes. And we're here back with episode number 6, right?
Yep. Episode number 6.
We have a special guest, somebody we've been trying to bring on for, a little while. Luckily, his schedule allowed it for today. So, we're very glad to have you. I just want to go around the room and introduce yourselves.
All right. My name is Domingo Whiteman. I'm with the TOR Project. I'm Prevention and Admin Assistant. I'm Cheyenne Arapaho.
My name is Jay Mule. I'm with the Comanche Nation Prevention and Recovery. I have been serving as the interim executive director up until yesterday. But my other titles is the project director for the Tribal Opioid Response, the Substance Abuse Prevention Treatment Aftercare, which we call SAPTA, and then I've been overseeing the medicated assisted treatment that we provide there as well. And I provide a chapel, and so probably get into that a little more later. So, but I'm just happy to be here. Had the opportunity to do this morning.
Yes, for sure. Welcome.
Thank you for coming.
And I'll welcome y'all to the All Nations Rest Recovery. Or what is it? Is it just TOR Rest Recovery Podcast? You didn't say that, sir.
But who are you?
Yeah. But I'm Carmelo Revelis, the behavioral health case manager for the TOR Project.
What's the hierarchy?
Right. Yeah. If we want to go down that lane.
Well, yes. Welcome, everybody. Domingo, would you like to read the Elder's Meditation for today?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Today is March 7th, and today's meditation, remember, we're in the winter stage, so March 20th, we'll be starting the spring. Now, winter stage is more kind of like knowing who you are, kind of reflecting on yourself, where am I going, look it up to the elders to, advice during these winter stage times. Now, spring season will be facing the east, so right now in the medicine wheel, winter is the white color, and then it'll be March 20. When spring hits, it'll be yellow facing east. So springtime is kind of time when you implement new goals, new ideas, new careers, anything like that, etc. So today it comes from Hunbat's man. He's Mayan. He says, we are responsible for the condition of the earth. We are the ones who are responsible, and we can change that. If we wake up, it is possible to change the energy. It is possible to change everything. The environment we want outside will be created by the mental pictures we have inside our heads. We must have the right environmental picture as well as the right values. These values will give the mental picture its true meaning. If we respected Mother Earth, we would not throw garbage on her, nor would we put poison in her. We will not misuse her in any way. Mother Earth is like she is today because of the mental pictures of previous generations, as well as the mental pictures of our own generation. If we want the environment to change, each individual must change their mental picture as within, so without. Great Spirit, today, let me be alert to your guiding voice. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I just want to get a little bit from everybody on what this meditation means to them. But with me, my little girl a couple years ago, before I was in recovery, she gave me this piece of paper and she wrote on it and it said, be the change that you want to see in the world. I mean, she's 9, 10 years old back then, and it kind of just stuck with me ever since. And I'm like, wow, this little girl can, already, say something to inspire me, and that kind of stuck with me the whole time I've been in recovery. And then, going through my process, realizing that the change has to be within. Any change that I want to see in the world, it has to start with me first. So being able to be here today and speak about these things, that's it's been a huge part of my recovery, and I enjoy these things. I enjoy recovering out loud. I enjoy having the chance to be able to speak about what helped me, because the amazing part of recovery that I like is all the bad choices, all the bad things that I've ever done in my life can be used to save somebody else's. That's amazing to me. And it also makes me think that things didn't happen to me, they happened for me. So I can use these experiences, to help somebody else change their life. And ultimately, that's kind of like, the change that I want to see. I've learned that it has to come within. So, y'all know me, I can go on and on for
Yeah.
hours, so I'm just going to pass it over to Domingo. What do you think about the meditation?
Oh, what I think about it is how it talks about, waking up in the morning and feeling that energy, because, it starts with you, and as a father, waking up the kids, getting ready, make sure everybody's got everything, and after, burn some cedar, get it going, I kind of prayer for everybody, because going on the road, the dangerous highways, the wife and kids going to school, there's always a lot of dangerous stuff. So that kind of, waking up in the morning, that energy, and I want them to be, a good blessing going on there out the door, for the day. So I think that really stands out to me. And also like the mental picture of having, the environment, the picture of like family, friends, that you have at the house kind of, and just keeping that, kind of help reminding you to, that staying recovery, staying right, reminding you, I learned from an elder, like trial and error, keeping up, even motivational quotes on the wall, stuff like that I can keep every day, just looking at it and reminding yourself, to not be that same old person he was, stuff like that. It was just some little things. And so that's what kind of this meditation kind of brought to me today. So, pass it on.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. And what stands out to me in the reading is where the writer discusses the responsibility or the accountability for the environment. And that's what we simply are. We're just simply stewards. We manage it. We take care of it for the future. And it relates to recovery because that is the foundation of recovery. First of all, we have to take accountability. We have to take responsibility for our behavior. We can get sober, we can get dry, but once you do that, what's the next step? There's all these behaviors. There's all these issues that we have to address. So once we get the alcohol and the addiction out the way, now let's deal with the real problem. Let's deal with the real behaviors that got us into our situation. And so, we have to address that with responsibility. We have to take accountability for our own actions. Or we can continue on going with the behavior of minimization. We can live in denial, or we can blame. We can blame our upbringing. We can blame society. We can blame the white man. But when it comes down to it, we have to take accountability for us to get anywhere. And so that is a big part for me, is to always to take accountability for myself. There's nothing I could do about other people. Yes, there's a lot of issues that people have, but I can't help them unless they help themselves. I can just be accountable for myself. I can look at my issues, my problems, the things I need to deal with, and be responsible to that. It reminds me. Where I work, I do a batterers intervention program for domestic violence. So I work with men who batter, and it never fails. You always see that behavior: minimization, denial, blame. And then you see it in recovery as well. But that behavior always surfaces first. They'll say, "Oh, what about her?" And, maybe they have a legitimate argument. Maybe it's true. But there's nothing we can do about other people. Hopefully they're getting well themselves. Mm-hmm. But all we can do is about our own actions, our own behaviors. and deal with those our own issues, we have a responsibility to get well, and we have a responsibility to our people. We have a responsibility to our families, our tribes. And so I really appreciate the meditation, because that's been kind of weighing on my mind quite a bit about accountability and responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you. That
Thank
I
you.
like that.
Yeah.
Mr. Revelis.
Oh, when I was reading and listening to Domingo and him this morning, it's like when you think about the environment and you think about Mother Earth, we as Native people, we've always had that connection to Mother Earth, and it talks about taking care of it, making sure that we always talk about that connection that you have to have, not just with your relationships, but just with yourself, and that's how you can overcome your addiction. So when you talk about the connection to Mother Earth and stuff, I think about it, in the three aspects of life: your mental, your physical, and your spiritual ways that that you can go about it. And so when you're taking care of that, you're able to, try to overcome things, what seems like an easier manner, but sometimes, it's a little harder than you want it to be. So when you think about that connection, and like you guys were all saying, that's you have to realize that that whatever it is you're going through, it is like a responsibility. It is, there's an accountability for it. There is, you have to recognize it, and in order to have that, sometimes, that recognition of the environment and things that you're in, like if you think about it, the meditation's talking about, poisoning Mother Earth and things like that. If there's that connection, then you're going through addiction, or you're going through whatever it is, you're poisoning yourself, and in turn you're poisoning, the environment that you're in. And so when you're thinking about all that, you got to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable for all of that. And and whenever you're holding yourself accountable, you're able to control your environment a little better. So that's how I was thinking about it today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Those were all good responses. I really like yours, Jay. That's a big thing in recovery, And I want to speak about, whenever I first met you, I want to say I met you at a funeral and you were preaching. And I was, you the way you carried yourself really, really impressed me. I just thought like, wow, like this, he seems like a very good man. And then I got to meet you and, you've been, I hear your name all the time, around Lawton and, with different, organizations, and, you dance with Domingo on, and I, to me, it's like, like you're a great role model for a lot of young natives, so I think that's very important too, in our communities. We need more people like you, fighting the good fight, and, I just want to, thank you for all the service that you've been doing for, all our Native people. That's a very big deal to me, or to all of us, just somebody who's willing to stand up for our folks, and I just want you to like go into, your story and your, what brought you, to this field.
Yes. Well, I appreciate what you shared and said, and since you brought God into it, God allowed this to happen for me. He had to intervene in my life, because it wasn't my own power, it wasn't my own abilities. Before I was headed nowhere, before I wasn't doing anything, I had no ambitions, no desires. I was just a troubled young man, like many of these troubled young people out there today, trying to find a place, trying to exist, And it began even from a young age. Even as a kid, I was confused. I was shy. I had a learning disability. I had as I got older, got into my addictions, got into a lot of trouble, sent off, juvenile detentions, rehabs, all types of problems. You know, very, very depressed, hopeless, discouraged all the time. You know, thought about suicide. Thought that maybe that's the way out of these problems, the way out of these troubles. And then, you know, I never had the courage to take my own life. I attempted maybe twice, didn't have the courage to go through with it. So I thought, well, if I live recklessly, maybe it would happen that way. And so live very recklessly, and in the process, almost completely ruined my own life and hurt a lot of people. And so that's what happens, when we're in our addictions. We're caught up in it. It doesn't just affect us; it affects everyone around us, affects our families, our loved ones, affects the community, affects society. And I didn't see the bigger picture like that. I thought it was just me. But until I hit rock bottom, and that's what it takes for people, addicts. That's what it takes. I don't know if that's the issue for everybody, but I know that's the issue for me. It takes almost losing everything for me to finally, okay, God, I'll hear you. It takes, me to fall deep into my problems, deep into my troubles, where I'm finally humbled and finally say, okay, God, you're the only way out. You're the only way to deal with this. Everybody else is abandoned. They gave up. They quit on me, left, whatever it is. God, you're the only one there. And so, it's all God that, actually brings us to this point. And so I'm grateful for you men, what you're doing. You're here, we see you laboring, getting this message out there. And that's what I feel like I'm called to do. We have the same message. Of course, we're bringing awareness to the issues, but we're real aware of the addictions. We're aware of the problems. We're aware of the abuse. We're aware of the fentanyl issues and methamphetamines and alcoholism. We're greatly aware of it, but most people are not aware that there's a message of hope.
Yeah.
There's a message of sobriety, that there's a way out. And I could not see that, in my addiction. I thought there's no way out of this. There's So I remember I would go to treatment and I was just going through the motion, just because I was court ordered. Okay, I grew up in the system, so I can follow orders. I can go along with the program, do what I have to do, get my certificate, show it to the judge. And so, that's what my plan was to do. I never planned to get right or anything like that. And so, I just went through the motions. I would go to, the treatment I went to, the first one, I think was with the Choctaw Nation. And we had they say 90 meetings, 90 days. Mm-hmm. I think I went way beyond that. We was morning, we had a meeting, first thing morning, we would run it ourselves. Afternoon, we either run ourselves or we go to a meeting somewhere in town. And then evening, we'll have a meeting. So at least three times a day, wow. But the thing is, I would sit there and hear these people's stories, but I wasn't really listening. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't have a problem. I'm not like these guys. They've been in their addictions
yeah.
for so long, and I'm just doing my time. And so, but coming full circle, after years later, falling back and relapsing, falling back into trouble, finally God intervened. God straightened me up. He gave me a new life, gave me a better life, better way of living than I had before. I don't know if y'all know, but I used to work here, the same building. My
Yeah.
office is right next door,
Wow.
and it was very short. Man, my background got me out of here quick. Everybody's strict on the background here. Like, man, they was trying all they could to just keep me here, move me here. Nope, background, nope, here. So, but I enjoyed my short time here. But I did do a session of filming here, and it was called The Excellent Way.
Yeah.
In the scriptures, Paul talks about there's a more excellent way. So I always thought that was a nice phrase, the way he put it. There's a more excellent way of living than the life we've been living. And that's what I, want to share with people. There's a better way of life.
Oh, yeah.
We want to share with these young people. It doesn't have to be this way. There's a way out. I've never noticed, because I didn't pay attention in AA or NA, in there they made promises. If you work this program, if you follow these steps, get a sponsor, you can have sobriety. I was like, is that easy? You do that? It's not easy, but that's the promise, and it's true. Work a program, have a plan, live it out, have a sponsor. Do what you have to do every single day, because this is something we do every day.
Oh, yeah.
Recovery. And so we have to focus on ourselves. We have to always evaluate ourselves. Where am I at right now? And so a long answer to your question, how did you get here? That's how I got here. God intervened. It wasn't my choice. And so I know he must have intervened in your lives, that you're here today. And I'm so encouraged that you're out there doing great things, sharing, getting these information out to the people, getting these life-saving harm reduction kits out there, because, I don't think people understand. People are not familiar with what we do, especially considering like the harm reduction. People disagree with it, because they don't understand what we're trying to do is keep people alive until they can find a way out.
Yeah.
That's all we're trying to do, is just keep you alive. And so I'm all for that, because this is a life and death what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that has never been more impressed upon me. I knew that from my life personally, but when I started working at Comanche Nation Prevention Recovery, we have an inpatient facility and we have an outpatient facility. And so when I first got there, I was working with inpatient, and man, I got close with those men. We have 13 beds, 13 men, all incarcerated, come out of the prisons. And, a lot of them today are still sober. A lot of them are co-workers there at Comanche Nation Prevention Recovery. And so, but during that time, a few made a choice to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them thought, okay, well, I got it from here. I'm good. Or they're not working on themselves, or they cause problems in the program. So we have to make a difficult decision to let them go.
Oh, yeah.
Until you're ready to come back, until you're ready to, fully devote yourself to this program, we're waiting. And, when people leave, it's deadly. And, I had many clients, didn't make it. It's life or death what we do. So, I'm grateful when there's a movement. That's what I felt when I got to Comanche Nation Prevention Recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like this is a movement.
Yeah.
Man. And I want to be all in with this. I've always done recovery, just through the church. I did 12 steps, a 12-step program. I did Celebrate Recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So I always know the issue here, that the foremost issue we see is drug addiction, alcohol abuse, and I want to address that issue.
Mm-hmm.
Support the people who's trying to find help. And so, I pastor in Gary, Oklahoma, so I'm very familiar with the area. I pastor in Hammond, Oklahoma, and the same issue, same problems. You never wouldn't think Gary just a small little town, population maybe over 300 or. But man, you go there through 3 o'clock at night, man.
Yeah.
It's like a little New York
Whole
City.
different world. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to go through there at 3 or 4 in the morning, just tend to things at church or whatever. And man, I would just have conversations on the street. You know, people just come up to me. You know, people in their addictions, they would come into our, off the streets when we have a service, they come in. You know, so long as they don't disrupt or anything like that, they can sit in. And so, we tried to help them best we can. So, God has intervened in my life. And, I like what they say in the AA. I didn't notice back then when I was in treatment, but I like that phrase where it said, God is with AA. And I believe that, he's with us.
For sure.
So I appreciate you, men. And, I'm just free, feel free to, whatever you want me to share today, I'm willing to, go into it.
Yeah. Would you like to tell us more about the programs down there in the Comanche Nation?
Yeah. So as I said, we have an inpatient, and that's right now we're waiting for a bigger facility being built. So we anticipate it be even larger. We began with the men's facility, 13 beds. Right, and during that time, a few years later, we started the women's facilities, which may hold about 4 or 5. And so we anticipate the growth of that. And so there, we of course provide substance abuse classes. I facilitate groups at, before I went into the grant area, I was doing a lot of facilitation, things like that. I do a chapel service, weekly chapel service for them. If they need parenting classes, we offer parenting classes. Some may have domestic charges, so we provide the BIP, Batterers Intervention Program, for them. It's a year-long program, at least a year long. We've kept others, as long as they needed.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that, that they succeed. And I'm not sure of the statistics, but being there, I was like, man, I've been around a lot of treatments. There's no treatment like this. The retention rate, I'm actually seeing, from a spiritual, miracles.
Yes.
Now, I'm a preacher, and I believe God. I know God works miracles. I'm aware of it, and I never seen it to the extent. Even at my church or in my ministry, 20 years of ministry, where I am seeing it for myself. God moving in men and women's lives, men who people have given up on, men who were down and out alcoholics, whose health has deteriorated, whose society has given up on, who have been repeat offenders in prison. And he took these men's lives, women's lives, and he transformed them. Right before I just could not believe what I was seeing. And families getting restored. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing. Man, we want the families back together. We want the children back with the mother. And we'll do all we can, go to courts with them. We'll, let the DAs know, hey, they're doing well. We're working with them. Just don't give up on them. Let us do what we can for them. And so I had the wonderful experience of seeing all this take place, and I was like, man, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this movement. I want to help as much as possible to continue this work that, now these men and women, same men, same women, work where we work. They're helping other clients. They're going out into the community. So it was just a wonderful thing just to be a part of that. And then, not only when they graduate, we provide aftercare. So I'm the project director for the substance abuse prevention, treatment, aftercare, and so before we also have reintegration, we have reentry as well as a support, and they was also doing aftercare previously, and then it turned into my grant, and so previously was a few years of aftercare, finding them housing, assisting them, helping them find employment. They was helping them get driver's license reinstatement, setting them up for success.
Yes.
Because they need these basic things. We can't just graduate like when I went to treatment and then throw you out there.
Yeah.
I don't have no GED. I don't have education. I don't have anything. And that's one of the things I did. I have started the GED program as well. Cool. And so, and we was happy to see results from that and see young men get the GED, even a young man go to college, or start working permanent with the tribe, have this basic foundation to survive, to make it. They need that education for aftercare. And so, we really encourage the GED if they didn't have any type of education or formal training. And so, we take them right along with us, our staff. We have trainings. Of course, we do the PRSS. They become PRSS while they're there. They begin at a certain point. They start facilitating, and they start helping as well. So all those things, is within our inpatient. And so I think because of a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of finances are pumped into that, we're seeing a lot of results. And so, I encourage all these tribes, man, put a focus on this, man. You'll see the dividends. You'll see your community impacted. And that's what it is. For me, my focus in ministry is to work with men because I believe, a lot of the conditions that we're in is because the men are absent. The men are absent in the home.
Yeah.
Men are absent in the community. Men are absent in leadership. Men are absent in the church. And we're seeing the lack of leadership provided, lack of protection, lack of everything that a man has the responsibility to provide is not there, and our people are suffering because of it. Our children are suffering because of it. And so, that's one thing, I wanted to do is to be a model. Okay, I'm not the perfect man, but just follow, follow along. I try not to steer you wrong, okay? So I remember I went there with the attitude, okay, whatever y'all need me to do, I'll do it. I'm here to help the staff. I'm here to help the clients. Whoever it is, I'm whatever we need to do. And they took me for my word. So I found myself out there. We would mow lawns for the elders.
Yeah.
And hot. Man, we would mow lawn after lawn. Like, man, I went to school for this. Got all the education. But it wasn't, I could have thought like that and pride built up. But no, I was happy to do it. I actually enjoy getting out there doing community service. Except when I was court ordered to do it. When I was court ordered, man, like I had I don't know, thousands of hours, and I was sitting in the kitchens for free, scrubbing dishes. But the community service for recovery, it's a service to the community. And so that's what I want those men to say, look, if they look at me, hey, he's out here mowing alongside with us. He's willing to do the work. This is how it should be. A man should work. A man should provide, protect. A man should do what men are expected to do. And so just basic things like that, I wanted to kind of provide a model for that. Be spiritual, seek God in your life, work on yourself, take accountability, take responsibility for who you are. Because we need those men. We need more men to step up. Even in the church, there's lack of pastors, lack of preachers, because men are elsewhere. So, that's my focus. So there in the inpatient, our program is based on culture. You see the slogan, culture is prevention. And we utilize, our culture as a tool for recovery. And so, we provide the materials, instruction to make their own outfits. We teach them to sew. We provide. We have cultural teachers. We have elders that work with our program. They provide the meanings behind it. They provide the lessons. This is the reason why we do these things. This is the reason why we dress this way. So we provide all this information to them, and we get them ready. Because we sponsor powwow after powwow. We sponsor multiple powwows, and they always expect us to be a part of it. They want our men, they want our women to be there to support it, and we gladly do it. So we dress them out, and this, probably up to hundreds of men and women, and so there's a purpose even behind that, because we want to either reintroduce them or introduce them back into the community, back among our people. Mm-hmm. Maybe they once knew at a time and their addiction pulled them away, or maybe they never knew, and we want to know, look, there are places in our community that's healthy for you. There are men and women out there that you need to surround yourself with, that can help you in your recovery. They'll encourage you. And we can find that in the powwow arena. We find that in the circle. We find that at gourd dance. And so we want them exposed to these places, these areas that once they're done here, they're always welcome there. And, they can always be a part. That's who they are. That's their culture. That's their community. And so, we provide that. And I do, certain times I try to do singing class, or not necessarily class. We just get together and sing around the drum. My goal has always been like kind of make a maybe like a drum type of circle. Of course we're there to sing, but then we can stop and just talk about our recovery. Yeah. Talk about what's going on in our lives. Just be a support. And I encourage those men. Maybe you want to start that. Because some of them they really aspire to sing. Some really take to it, and so that's all they do. You hear them drumming, you hear them singing, learning songs, working hard on singing. And so I always want to encourage that. So whatever talents or abilities or interests I see, I really try to encourage them. Whether it's music, I play music for chapel. I play guitar. I try to encourage them. If you do music, sing, play guitar, whatever it is. You need all these things to turn to, utilize as tools for your recovery. For like me, I didn't really work a program, so I struggled. I didn't lean upon AA. I didn't lean upon NA. So I struggled, fell back into my addictions, fell back in jail, city jails, county jails, whatever it may be. But when God took hold of my life, and He really transformed. He really created opportunities that wasn't there. He allowed me to go to college, which I did not have the grades, and so I know it's all God. I know, like, man, there's no way. So I graduated high school somehow. I remember in high school, I wasn't really trying to straighten my life out, but I remember one day, I'm just hanging out, and I go hang out at the Indian Ed counselor's office, and he's like, Jay, you can still graduate high school. And, I never considered graduating. I was just there, existed. I didn't do no work. But I had a habit laying my head. As soon as the teacher starts talking, I just lay my head on the table. And, because I was slobbering, I said, man, get this book. And I opened up the book, and I would slobber in the middle of the crack of that book. And then, so nobody would see it. So when the bell rings, I just slam it shut. I feel sorry for whoever got those books the next year. And so I had a bad habit of sleeping And one time I slept, and I don't know if the class played a trick on me or something, but they didn't wake me up, man. I woke up, man. The whole school was almost shut down. It was dark. It was just the janitor out there. I was like, man, what they left me in here and sleep. And then, you know, I don't know where I was going with that, but hey, see, when
It's a good story.
a lot of brain cells have been burnt over the years. That's what happened, man.
I'm there with you.
So you just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But you know, as for our recovery, you know, we try to introduce them to, you know, all those basic things. You know, we want them to succeed any way that's possible. And so I'm just glad, you know, God moved in my life and allowed me to work with these men and women.
Yes, for sure. I had a question like, when do you feel like you surrendered? Like, when do you feel like this addiction thing had the best of you and you knew it was time for change? Like, when did that thought come into play? Like,
I think it was more of a process. You know, some people might have overnight, you know, God just changed them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it was a process. A lot of, as I said, I'm very stubborn, very prideful, you know, and for me to turn my heart to God, something bad has to happen. Okay, you got my attention now. And so a lot of, you know, bad decisions, a lot of problems, a lot of issues, a lot of trouble in my personal life led up to that. And so, you know, when I was in rehab, I said, you know, I'll start going to church, because there used to be Indian churches. They used to come to our rehab, and they would just take us to service. So I was like, man, I'm gonna go to church just to get away from here. So that was my life, just get there, get away from here.
Yeah.
And so there was two of them, and then they would take us, and you know, I started enjoying it. You know, I wasn't a church goer or anything, but I started enjoying it, and I expected them to pick me up every week, and they would. They would encourage me. You know, I thought people would judge me. I thought people would look down or be preaching against me. You know, that's why I probably didn't go to church. But you know, they was open arms to me. They was happy. I was there. They was glad to receive me. You know, and you know, it's something I experienced in a while. You know, people didn't want to have nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
People kind of wrote me off, and so I was glad to be there. And then I experienced that, and started listening to the sermons. Actually, and so I enjoyed what was being shared to me. But I still didn't have no decision to straighten up. Still, like, okay, let me just get through this and I'll get out of here. And so that process, I think the seed was planted from then. You know, so graduated, and this is where I come full circle. I was actually a client in one of the programs at Comanche Nation. So from there, I went to another program because it was either that or go to jail. So I went there to Comanche Nation in Lawton, and I thought it was very interesting because that whole town, you know, not just the native side, but there's a lot of resources for recovery there. I was like, man, there's quite a few opportunities, you know, for NAs, AAs, a lot of people in recovery in that particular area. But still, I wasn't convinced. And, being there, even that was a process, you know, because I got there, and at that time, I'm the youngest guy every time. People been in and out of prison, people 40 years and addictions and stuff like that. So they always encouraged me because I was young. Man, we're glad you're here, man. We're glad, you know, you keep doing this. And, you know, I would shake my head, yeah. But deep down inside, I wasn't going to straighten up. I felt bad. Like, man, dang, they think I'm going to live right. They think I'm going to straighten up. That wasn't my plan. Like, and so, you know, they didn't know that. They just thought I was there, you know, on my own. And so, but, you know, as I said, God was moving. You know, the seed has been planted. It was growing. There was a Comanche man named Dink. He was a deacon, local church, I think Comanche Reformed Church near there, and he would come every week. Man, he would share, and he would encourage us. He would pray with us every week. He's faithful to do that. So we would gather around him and listen to him, and one night we was in this just a little bitty room, and he told us his story. How he was a wino. I was like, him? No way. You didn't think. And man, I wouldn't think that about him. And he was down and out, Skid Row. And he shared that story. And he like, at the end of his story, he was like, "Men," he said, I want to pray for you. He said, I want to pray for you, 2 at a time. He said, I want you to come here. I want to just, pray with each of you. I want you to line up 2 at a time. And so we lined up, and he placed his hand upon us. And me and this older guy, his name's Persian Yago. I remember him, older guy, way older than me, been in his addictions for a long time. Me and him stood side by side. So it was kind of at the end, and he was praying, and I would see these men crying, and I would see them kind of shaking. I was like, man, I didn't want to express anything. I didn't show no emotions. Or anything like that. I was like, okay, so me and him got up there, and then, I was like, all right, hurry and pray. Let me get out of here. And then so he placed his hand on us, man. And he started praying, and as he prayed, man, I don't know what it was. I know what it was. God was in that room. That's all I could. God was in that place, and his presence was there. And he prayed, and I knew it because Persian right next to me, man, he was shaking. And I felt the same thing, but I was trying to contain it. I was trying to hold it. I ain't letting people see me shake and cry around, like, man, but I felt it radiating throughout my body. I was like, oh, man. And I was like, man, hurry up, finish praying. Like, and he prayed, and man, God was he was there. He was there with the down and outs. He was there with the alcoholics, the addicts, and he was there in this place nobody would consider. It was just any boarding school. They used it for a program. And so, man, as soon as he quit praying, we was the last one. So, man, I got out of that room. I was like, man, I gotta get out of here. I left those guys in there. I left the room. I went down to my room, and man, I walked into the room, and I got in there. I shut the door behind me, make sure nobody was coming, nobody was around. And first time in my life, I fell down in the middle of that floor, and I praised God. I thanked God. Never had done that before. Never gave him thanks. Never gave him praise. Never was grateful. Even though I was suicidal, I was depressed, I was an addict, alcoholic. Life was falling apart, and I'm sitting in the middle of the floor in rehab, praising him, thanking him for who he is. And man, I believe in right there. That right there, I knew God is with me. God is there, man. I need to turn my heart to him. Still wasn't convinced though. I graduated, went on, relapsed, back in jail, back in my addiction. Remember sitting on the porch one night in the middle of the night with my cousins, friends, right after I got out of jail. And we're just sitting there drinking. It wasn't fun. We're just sitting there drinking, like sitting in the dark, sitting on the steps. We wasn't having no good conversation. There was no laughing. There was nothing. It was just we all in our own addiction, just sitting drinking together in our miserable condition. And I was sitting there thinking, man, why am why am I coming back to this? It's nothing. It's nothing for me. And so the thought came, you tried counseling, you tried rehab, once you tried that church you went to when you was a little kid, go back there. And that's what I did, man. I went, found that little church, little bitty. To me, back then, it was a lot of youth and a lot of young adults. Had a pastor, man. It was growing. The people was loving, kind, sincere, encouraging. I felt refuge. I felt shelter. So I enjoyed that. I kept going back. Still in my addictions though, still struggling. And then, but I kept going, doing whatever they was doing. Bible study, recreation, volleyball, whatever it is, just being there. And then I started making small decisions. Okay, let me sober up on Saturday night so I can go to church Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Little bitty decisions I started making. But come Thanksgiving night, one night I'm there with my cousins and my friends, doing the usual stuff. So on Thanksgiving night, just got through eating, family and stuff like that. But we're all together. And my cousin starts coming at me, like out of nowhere. He's like, "How come you going to church? And you're out here with us?" He said, "Don't you know there isn't no God?" He said, "Don't you know God doesn't exist?" He said, "There ain't no God. God can't help you." And he was like, "Look at the way things are. There's no God. He can't help you." And I began to argue with him. Yes, there is a God. I believe there's a God. I encountered God when I was 7 years old. I got saved when I was 7 years old. There's no turning from that. I made that decision. I wasn't an alcoholic then. I wasn't a drug addict. I wasn't stealing. I wasn't robbing people. I wasn't fighting or in trouble. But I knew I needed God at 7 years old. I needed forgiveness. And me and him was arguing whether God exists or not. And right there in moment of drunkenness, I don't know if they call it a moment of clarity, but to me, it was even though I was intoxicated, even though I was out of it, man, God was right there. God made me see things the way they really are. He's like, you think you're fighting with your cousin? You think you're arguing with him? Your battle is with me. You resisting me. You reject me. Turn your heart to me. Man, I was convicted right there. I made a decision right there in the midst of that argument, midst of that party, drunkenness. I'm going to give my life to God. And I made a decision. I said, man, I got up. I walked out toward the door. I turned to my cousins, turned to my friends, who all I knew, I grew up with them. And I don't know why I said this, because I tried to quit drinking before. It was, I just became a laughingstock. Oh, you'll be back. But I turned to them and I said, I'm never coming back to this life. Walked out, shut the door, went home. And it's been that way ever since. 20 years, over 20 years, sobriety, that's what it's done for me, So I'm grateful, for everything that he's done for me, and grateful to be here today, be able to even discuss this issue, discuss recovery, man. Needs to be more people talking about the more opportunities. We got to get that message out there.
Yes.
There's an enemy opposes that. We got to get that message out there. Hey, there's hope. Don't give up. Don't quit. There's a way out of it. So you and I, we know that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing story. You have an amazing testament. I mean, I knew it was going to be something special, just by the way you carry yourself and the way I see you relate to people. I think that's very important. Did you see yourself being a pastor?
No, that was definitely not part of the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, God, I'll get sober. I'll go to church. That's it. But that was a process, Some of your calling, God chooses to use people to confirm. He'll use the church to confirm. And it was just our pastor stepped down. We was without pastors. And I knew Indian churches, have the issue of being pastorless. And so, but visiting preachers or people that would come through or deacons, they said, "You ever thought about preaching?" No, never thought about that. And it was just like little seeds they would plant. I couldn't escape that.
Yeah.
I was like, man, there's no way. Nobody's gonna take me serious. Nobody's gonna, I dance, I sing. They don't want that in the Southern Baptist Church. Like, I don't know if they're gonna accept me. Look at my past. Look at, especially that was in my hometown. Look, I really messed up. I was making the news. I was tearing it, man. I was like, there's no way. I don't know if that's possible, God. Telling God this.
Yeah.
And that just stayed with me, man, for a long time. And then, kind of, it was just a thought. And then I take the youth. I work with Cheyenne Rappaport Baptist Association.
Yeah.
And so we always take a lot of youth to the Indian Falls Creek camp. Well, when I started going to church, we was attending that. I enjoyed it. You want to see God's presence. He's always there. Wherever God's people gather, he'll be there. That's why I want Gary youth to go there. I want them to experience God. That's why I want Hammond youth. I want all the youth. Man, you got to experience God. I want them to encounter God the way I encountered him. And so we took some troubled young men and women. There's kind of unruly kids and troubled kids, kind of a lot of issues. And so we was really praying for our cabin. God help these young people, speak to them, deal with them. So I remember one night, we're there, and it's at the end of the service, they give an invitation, however God's calling you, you come and make a decision. And I'm standing there, and God is moving in that place, man. God is touching hearts and lives, and they're going forward, making all these decisions for the Lord, moving among young people. And so I kind of peeked and opened my eyes. I looked at all our young people, see if any of them has been touched and any of them is going forward. But they was all still standing there. Man, these kids, bad kids.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there, and then, man, God started speaking to me. I was like, I don't need to go down there. I'm good. So like, he told me, look around. I looked around. I said, God's moving, man. And he said, look down in front. And during that time, it was a little ways back. There was a lot of preachers. Man, across the stage, all those preachers were lined up, waiting to pray with somebody. All the way, Indian preachers. And when God told me to look down there, and the first vision that I had when I looked down there, it was warriors lined up. Like, that's the picture I had. Like, and it was different tribes. They're in their full regalia, their war clothes on. That was the image. And I saw that, and I looked around, looked at my guys, and he's like, there's a spiritual battle taking place. This is a battle we're in. What are you going to do? That was the question put on my heart. What are you going to do? I knew what God was saying. Surrender your life to me. Come forward and be a preacher. And man, I was like, man, you sure, God? I don't know. Came up with excuses why it could be done. Sadly, I talked myself out of going forward that night. That first time God made the official call over my life. But man, I couldn't shake that. God's called me to the front lines. God called me to battle. God wants to use me, somebody. So, it's probably about a year of running, year of kind of like trying to ignore that call. God was patient. I struggled spiritually during that year, man, because I wasn't obedient. I wasn't where God wanted me to be. That's where these men, they're in trouble today because they're not where they should be. We're hoping we try to get them there. And so about a year, there was this little bitty revival going on, storefront church, hardly any people, man. I just wandered up in there, hanging out. God placed that call on again. Surrender. Come. What about this? I don't care. Come on. Give your life to me. What about my background? No, come on. And so I remember I grabbed those pews like that. I was hanging on. But, man, I was tired of hanging on. I was tired of my own desires, my own will. Surrender my will over to God. So I let go. I started being, disobedient. I walked forward. I told that preacher, man, God's been calling me. Called me to preach. And I said to that preacher, I said, tonight I surrender my life to him. I'll go anywhere he wants me to go. I'll do anything he wants me to do. I didn't know it'd be Gary, Oklahoma eventually. I didn't know it'd be Hammond. I was thinking China,
Yeah.
Africa, Europe. Send me there.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Fly me out. Give me a ticket.
Yeah. Ended up at the village.
Yeah. Going through the Ville, man.
Yeah.
See, one time, man, I enjoyed, man, going through the Ville at Gary. I see one of my kids, he goes to church, rolling down the street. And they had some new bikes for Christmas.
Yeah.
Then I seen them rolling, no tires on the wheel, just the rim, rolling down the street. Man, where's your wheels at, man? Oh, man, it's been a blessing, man. Out here in Western Oklahoma, man, you don't think God is moving.
Yeah.
Man, that's why I've been here 6 years in the ministry. I don't get paid for it. I don't get a salary or anything like that. God has provided. God has made the way. That I'll be able to exist this long. And, man, he has performed the miraculous. He is moving. And so that's what, that's what motivates me. Keep being where God wants me to be. You'll be happy if you're there.
Yeah.
You'll be satisfied. You'll be at peace, man. You'll be content. You'll be fulfilled. It may not be what you thought, but if you're where God wants you to be, man, everything's going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my congregation that Gary, every time I come through and I see that city of Gary, I feel good. I feel content. I feel happy. I feel peace because I'm where God wants me to be. And so, that's what we want for men and women. Surrender their will and their lives of the care of God as they understood him.
Powerful. Powerful. Very powerful. Do y'all have any questions?
Got a question?
Do I have questions?
Yeah.
I don't think I have any questions. You actually did. That's really good question.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah.
You had good questions.
Surprising.
Well, we really appreciate what you're doing out in these communities. You're a good dude, Jay. For
I
real.
appreciate y'all. Thank you.
And your testament, man, it needs to be, more people need to hear this. I related so much to what you were saying, to not, maybe I could apply it to my life. Maybe there's some things that, I'm doubting myself about, that you just, I really like your story.
Well,
I really
brother.
appreciate you coming out and, just sitting here with this, like you're saying, that's all God, and, I think it's more than important that we have more Native people, more Native men, like you were saying, trying to get this message out. There is a way out. It is a possibility, and just the way you were saying, for somebody like me to be sitting here,
Yeah.
that's crazy, the way that God's working in our lives. And, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you
Well, I
for
appreciate
coming.
y'all having me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a huge deal to us,
I always intended to do a podcast myself. I've been planning it for 5 years.
Yeah.
I got all the lights. I got the mics. I don't have that, but I need that. But I have that a little recording thing that does at least 4.
Yeah.
And it's all ready. It's ready to go, man. I just never did. I was like, man, wait till I lose some weight, then I'll do it. I don't know.
It's not a big deal.
But then they call me. I gotta go as I am, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe this is what you were needing, because who would have thought we would have ever been sitting here, I know I can ramble on for hours, you know.
Well,
You
I
know?
think it's like, like he was talking about, we all face like a battle like almost every day, and some of us don't realize that, hey, maybe it is God speaking to us, and some of us run from it. Some of us are listening, and we refuse to listen sometimes. And coming and listening to people that have that spiritual connection and have that relationship with God, sometimes it's just an eye opener. And people like Jay and people that are going to church, and you can hear their testimony, and you can hear the ways that they came through and all the stuff we've been through. And it's like you just said, like there's no way that anybody expected like somebody with like your background.
Yeah.
Or, and I put myself in that same area. I just didn't get caught for all the stuff that I was doing. I mean, because there was tons of stuff that I could have ended up in jail for, but I just didn't get caught for it.
Yeah.
And that it just reminds me, like there's so much stuff, like, and there's people around here that can look at like us from in the areas that we grew up in, and they know who we are and who we are. I say who we were.
Yeah.
And the difference that we're trying to make now, but that also helps people. Like I think it helps people like to resonate. Like, hey, this is what our story was, but this is what we're trying to do now, and it helps people to understand things a lot easier, especially people that are in that environment now. And that's why it's great to have people like Jay and people like Barry and me and Mingo are still young in our recovery journey, so. We'll get there, but even our stories are still helping people to understand things in a manner, and it just reminds me, that I go to Falls Creek all the time. I was there whenever you were the camp pastor, hearing your stories about running from the police in the fields and things like that. I was just like, man, I was like, this is the stuff that we're working on, and in those first 2 years that we're trying to accomplish something. It was hard for us to find like a PRSS person to come and work and to be able to share their story. And then we got Cassandra, and things started taking off. And now you're here, and people are wanting to hear these stories. And maybe when you get your podcast set up, we can be some of the first people you invite down to come and talk. I mean, that's, just to help each other out and to know that there's all these connections out there, and all these tribes that are trying to do things. I mean, it just makes it way easier if like we're all working together.
Oh yeah.
And we're not like, well, we're better than the Comanches or we're better than the Ponkas and things like that. So, that's just, we did get an award, but that doesn't matter. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, that's just like I said, it's just your story. It resonates with people, and it's good for people to hear it. And if you're using that to help other people, it really, it just makes the stories and makes the journey easier for people. So.
Yeah, that's, like I always say, using my past to help somebody else out, like that's crazy to me. Who would have known that me going to prison at 16 would have, helped somebody?
Yeah, it is because, every job I've ever gotten is because of my past. It's weird. Like, it's not because I got a master's degree or anything like that. It's school.
You don't want to hear what I say about it.
Well, he was talking about background checks. I was like, well, I wonder how Barry even got hired.
Hey, maybe they lightened up on that. I'm gonna put my application in.
Oh my goodness.
Where's the HR at? Still same place.
I know. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, what it would have looked like for me today, I mean, this is not even this never even crossed my mind that I would be sitting here today. But like you say, God does, amazing things, and you got to give the Creator all the glory, because I don't feel like I had anything to do with, where I'm at today. If it was up to me, I wouldn't imagine myself sitting here talking on the mic, talking about what I used to do,
Yeah.
So it's definitely amazing, and I really enjoy this. I really love the work that we do. We I feel like like you were saying about the award. organization of the month, by White Bison Inc.
Right.
That's
Well,
amazing.
congratulations, man.
Yeah.
That is
Big,
amazing.
big one.
And it all comes, full circle for us. From where TOR started, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years ago? To where it's grown today. I couldn't imagine doing this with another group of guys. We definitely ain't scared to get out there. If we see an opportunity, we always jump on it. And we try. Like last time we did 2 podcasts in one day.
Yeah.
Looked like we didn't bathe.
I thought y'all was doing 2 podcasts a day, and Mingo left me out. I was sitting in my truck, and y'all was going live. I was like, hold on, man.
Nah.
Mingo didn't even let me know.
Called him out too.
Yeah, I got on the Facebook. It's like acting like everybody else on Facebook.
Yeah. So I was telling Barry, I was like, Jay's on there calling him out.
We were like,
Yeah.
I think it's a big deal, that we do, and then we had another organization say that he deals with a lot of tribes. He's a native-based company. What is it, the RX Destroyer? He deals with a lot of native tribes, and he said that we were probably one of the most progressive in the U.S., like these things are very encouraging. But to me, the ultimate goal is to reach the people that suffer in silence.
Yeah.
The ultimate goal is this message getting to the person that needs to hear it? That's, it's cool to sit here and, I love the fact that we get our message out there. But is this getting to the right people? Are we using our platforms, the way that we should to reach, the person that needs to hear this the most, and ultimately, that's why we got to keep going. That's why we got to keep doing what we're doing, getting out in our communities, standing up for our folks, we got people losing their lives out there. Like Jay was saying, this is a life and death thing. And, you just never know. You just never know. Like my phone rings all hours of the night, and it doesn't bother me to get up and take these calls or, to just give an ear to somebody who really just wants to get something off their chest, And I think that's the great thing about what we do is, we have a lot of empathy, for these people. We want them to know that we can help them find a way out. So, the more people that we have like Jay coming on here, he has like a very powerful testament, and I think everybody in recovery needs to hear, what he has to say about where he was, what happened and how we ended up here today. That's powerful. So, would you like to tell them about our safe boxes?
Oh, yeah.
And I have you tell them about Talk Space?
All right.
Yeah, don't forget our safe spring break safe boxes. It's on drop form on our Facebook page, and we also have, if you want even specific items, such, like our Narcan HIV kits, just fill out, and you don't have to put your name, be just current residence, put your address in, and we always do college safe boxes too. So any college students that are out there, tribal, non-tribal, just let us know, and we'll send you a box.
And then we provide talk space, mental health therapy free for everybody. We say, tribal members, casino employees, tribal employees, anybody 13 and up, make sure you check out that QR code on our Facebook page. Sign up, passwords restored. We can help, I think, up to 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So, make us hit that barrier. Make us have to provide for more. I think that's kind of one of our goals is like we want to make sure that 1,000 people are signed up and 1,000 people are using that because even employees, you may not be dealing with anything, but just having somebody else to be able to talk to that's outside of your family sometimes is something that's really, really helpful.
Yes, mental health.
And you know, we partner with 988 on that when mental health therapy is really important. So, we got what, Beats and Blessings coming up. You want to
Yes,
talk
Beats
about
and
that?
Beats and
Blessings.
Blessings with Brian Frieso.
Yeah.
You know, what is that? March 28th,
March 28th, 5 to 8.
5 to 8 at the Concho.
Respect Gym.
Yeah.
Oh, at the Respect Gym. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad.
And then we got Zumba coming up this month.
Okay,
So get y'all ready for the Beats and Blessings.
yeah.
Get them steps in.
The famous Courtney White Man.
Yeah,
coming
Courtney
to-
Whiteman.
Okay.
Shout out to the wife. She'll be come Mondays at the 1950 South Shepherd in El Reno. So starting at 6 to 7.
So do you learn the routines before
Before,
the class?
oh, yeah. No, you be learning it live.
Okay.
Him and
He's
Courtney
the
are the
guinea,
only ones.
the
on
guinea
there.
pig.
Yeah.
He's the guinea pig. You see if this move works.
Do you think Barry will be able to do this?
Yeah. We got to turn it up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have anything else that you would like? Is there anything
Yeah,
else that
anything-
you would
is
like
any
to add,
announcements?
Jay?
No, I just want to say I appreciate y'all asking me to be here, and I enjoyed this time with you. I forgot to say all that outpatient does, but that's where a lot of our grants are housed in the outpatient.
Okay.
So of course we have 2 988s, the youth and the adults, and so we're getting those going pretty good. We have Native Spirit. They deal with suicide prevention, provide counseling, all those things. A lot of these are, free, and for federally recognized tribes.
Mhm.
And then a lot of things that we do, substance abuse classes every week, BIP, parenting, all that's provided to the public.
Yeah.
So even non-natives. So it doesn't matter who comes through the doors. We're going to try to help them, non-native or whatever. We can provide them, point them to resources, help them get their student care, Medicaid, whatever they need to get into treatment.
Mhm.
And so we have a lot of capable people who are experienced, and they can point them where they need to go,
Yeah.
the help that they need. So wherever it is, of course we have I Am Indian. They've been around for a while, and they have really impacted the youth. Got a great, wonderful bunch of young people. They really helped us with our annual powwow this past weekend that y'all was able to come to and
Great
be part
event.
of, man. So we relied greatly on them for the raffles and serving, and they did a wonderful job. And so, we're just happy to be here, man. Just happy to carry the message.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to encourage you. You're really being used. Carrying that message to people. That's what really needed. And I just want to close with one last story. I was getting ready to go preach a revival one morning. So sometimes I got to be alone with God and just kind of go through what I'm going to share. And I'm driving the back roads, and I'm coming around, and I'm sitting there, we're going through what I'm going to share, but I see something at the corner of my eye on the side of the road. It's small. I like, what is that? Is that a box, or is that a animal? What is that? I don't know. I'm not really trying to pay it, but I know that something's coming up on the side of the road. So I'm driving, and as I get closer and I pass, a young lady stands up. I was like, as a person, like, and man, I was like, what? And she's standing there, and she's out of it. Her hair is hanging down her face, and she's just looking off into the distance. She doesn't know what's going on, what's happening. And I didn't want to just drive on, leave her there, so I pulled over, and I went to see if I could help her. And I got closer, man. It seemed like she's probably been like that for days. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Like, man, I don't want you to find the wrong person out here. Fingernails was long, dirty, everything, man. She, I don't know if she'd been in those fields or what happened or anything. And so I'm trying to talk to her. She's incoherent. She really can't talk or anything like that. I said, are you okay? Do you need a ride anywhere? And she says, no. And she has, a little bag in her hand. And then And I said, well, can I pray with you? And I prayed with her. And I said, and I could tell she's using things like that. So, and I told her, you could be well. There's a way out. There's hope for you. And I shared the gospel with her, of course, and asked her did she want to receive it. And even though she wasn't really talking at that point, she said yes. So I prayed with her. And I don't know the outcome. I don't know how genuine people's decisions are, sincere, or she understood. And so I said, sure, you don't need a ride. I can give you a ride wherever you need to go. She said, no. So I was heading toward my truck, and she says, sir, could you give me a ride? And it was almost like she was clear. Her mind was clear all of a sudden. So I gave her a ride to where her destination, and dropped her off. I don't know what become of her. I don't know what happened. I don't know if that was her home or whatever. But I know I carried the message to her that I'm responsible to carry. You're carrying a message. I just encourage you keep carrying. Keep doing it. So I'm just grateful to be here today to continue with this message of sobriety and hope for our people.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good one. I like that. Hopefully we can have you back. I feel like things went really, really good. Or even a morning meditation that Domingo didn't even.
Yeah, he didn't.
Oh,
Left me out on that.
Do what you hear.
Do y'all offer support groups? Do y'all have talking circles? Or?
Yeah, we do sobriety.
Okay.
We have facilitators there in the inpatient, and they provide sobriety, and they do their own AA groups. And NA
Okay.
Groups.
Yeah.
Of course, we utilize the community's AA
Oh yeah.
organizations and take part in what they do. And we do get out in the community with our grants. So right now we have about 10 grant programs. So we're probably the biggest department in the Comanche Nation.
Yeah.
So they rely heavily on, with all these events and activities. So the annual powwow is just one of the bigger events that we do. And we share the message of sobriety there. And we have a big New Year's bash, sobriety bash every year. Man, there's thousands of people are able to attend there. We'll feed them, have a good time. I always thought, man, these Indians ain't going to dance. But, man, they got to have a good time without alcohol, without drugs, man.
All right.
And so it's been successful all these years, and we work very hard on that. And then, of course, we got to carry out on grant deliverables and get out there and provide trainings, SBIRT trainings, audit trainings, assist trainings, all types of training, PRSS trainings.
Yeah.
And so, we're just happy to do the work and, get that to our people.
Well, we appreciate what you do. That's amazing. I hope more tribes are, trying to do, what we're all trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I see, we went down with the Kiowas not too long ago, and it's just like, we're all on the same side. We're all trying to get the same message, the same solutions. And. I think it's powerful. I hope that we can all come together one day and realize that, we all do need each other's support, and, maybe we can help each other out one way or another, and, I know we're more than willing, if y'all ever need help with anything or, if we can help out in any kind of way, we'd be more than willing to, give it a shot, see what we can do. And, if nobody else has anything left to say.
I want to say the powwow was a really great event. It was the healing process to see all those guys that were in recovery out there dancing and almost making us look bad. The way they were getting down out there.
Yeah, they really love
it was awesome. And then if you want to tell people where they can come and hear you preach and
yes. So I pastor in Gary, Oklahoma, every Sunday. We have 11 o'clock service, 300 North Broadway, right there on the main road. and so you can't miss it. Chief Cornerstone Baptist Church. And then we're starting a new church. There used to be a church in Hammond. It kind of shut down, closed down, so we're trying to get a new one going. And that's going to be called Red Moon Baptist Church, representing the people that are there.
Yeah.
And so that's a very good group, a lot of young people. And God is really, that's always been on the plans to reach out there, because there's hardly any resources, hardly people
there
out
is.
there. And so that's all God moving. He called us to do that. And so I remember during the pandemic, man, I kind of had I had a personal revival with myself during the pandemic because everything shut down.
Yeah.
And I was able to, get closer with God, have some time to myself and with God. And, he really ignited a fire. I was like, God, if you open the doors of the church again, if you open the back up, society back up, I'll go to Hammond. I'll do it. I'm not worried about resources. I'm not worried about gas, transportation. We'll do it. And, he did, man. And it's been a blessing. So we're getting ready out there. A mission team's coming, and they're going to work with the young people, maybe basketball tournaments.
Yeah.
We're going to have Easter. So anyone's invited anytime.
That's amazing.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. And we're still trying to, I think we have a powwow coming up.
Yep.
Benefit dance.
Yeah, benefit dance.
April 27th.
You want to tell more about that?
Yes, All Res Recovery and Gory Clan. So it'll be our dance on April 27th. We'll be at Gary ERC, the new Give Miles ERC. So it'll be right there in town, south of town. So don't go to the old one and go to the new one. So it'll be starting, 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock Gore dance. And then be supper at 5. And then finish out some Gore and maybe some round dance songs. So
He was our head man last year, wasn't he? At our
Yeah.
That's, okay.
So, yeah.
I haven't been to that new ERC building in Gary yet.
Pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Haven't broken no kids' ankles yet.
No.
I'm playing over there. I'm still on the basketball court.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody would like to say before we close out?
I like how you say, they always say you're the problem. You always do this, you do that, and it's like you're the problem, but you're the medicine.
Yes.
Like how you should.
You are the medicine. Yeah. Definitely. Change has got to come within. Mm-hmm. It's got to start there. Like Jay was saying, somebody planted that seed. Actually, what it was I heard somebody talking about me.
Oh.
They're like, man, he really needs help. He's really struggling. And they thought I was all adamant, because we have our backs to each other. And they were talking about my brother Randy. He was out in California. Like, maybe your brother should think about going out there, because he's over here struggling, And I heard all of that. And it was just like, that's the light came on, And that's when I realized, that change has got to come within. So, thanks. Thanks.
Yeah.
For,
Thanks for bringing up his same story.
No.
I mean, but it's just part of it, hopefully we get to do another podcast soon. I see we've been on for an hour and a half, so.
Is that long enough? A little bit
Yeah,
longer.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Close to about the longest one we've
I was
had.
getting Shannon Sharp and Cat Williams status.
Yeah.
Start calling people out.
We'll just have Mingo start dressing like shit.
Well, I guess with that, we're going to close up. I want to say thank you to Shine Rapo Productions, Aho Hawk, you thanks for giving us this opportunity, and I'm thinking one day we should have Hawk on.
I just thought about that. I was like, this
Watch him say, I forgot to push record. We just said that.
yeah. Start over.
Do it again.
So, we really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you, Jay,
Yeah.
Thank
for
you.
coming and sitting with us,
Appreciate
brother.
y'all.
You have a very powerful testament, and I feel like our native communities need to hear it. So thank you. Thank you for sharing what you did with us today.
Well, praise God.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I guess we're going to wrap it up. Aho.
Oh. Next one.